I'm Madeline Harvey. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We're going to do something very serious, and extremely personal. So just hang on to your hats and come on this ride with me because we're going to be getting into vocal timbre. Why is knowing your specific timbre so crucial? Like so crucial that if you don't know it, you could hurt yourself. And also, if you do know it, it can set your voice free. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I'd love to see you here more often. So I just want to start really quickly and say, timbre is the soul of your voice. It's the absolute soul and personality and essence of your voice. And lucky for you, you can't change it. Lucky for you, you cannot change it. We don't want to deaden our soul just so we sound nice. We want to be able to unlock our own unique vocal gifts. That's what I'm interested in. It's hard though. It's very hard because oftentimes when it comes to timbre, our timbre tends to be the very thing we hate about our sound. So that's the first question that I'll pose to you. Is there anything that you just hate about your voice? For me, it was the fact that my voice always sounds young. It always sounds young. It's bright, it's clear, it's light, but it's very bright. My voice has got a very brightness to it that always makes it sound really young. I never really liked that. Personally, my favorite artists had different kinds of qualities of their voice, and I sought to mimic that. But what that did was it set me on about a 20-year game of chasing my own tail. I would try because you cannot change your timbre. You cannot change your timbre. But lucky for us, we can't change it. So part of the learning about our timbre is to accept what we have as a gift and to use what we have as a gift because it is a gift. So I'll ask you right out of the gate, is there anything about your voice that you just hate and you wish was different? Because that seems to be the thing we do. We kind of reject. It's like we reject all of ourselves. I wish we'd stop that, but we tend to do that. So it's like it's not enough for us to have what we have. It's like her range is bigger than mine. She can belt louder than me. It's like we want what other people have we're just so influenced. We're just so used to going, I want some of this, I want some of this, I want some of this, that we're looking away from our natural gifts. But it's really important that we know exactly what our timbre is because we can build some serious skill around our timbre. But if we don't know what it is, we're just going to try to create a voice. And that's the fastest way to get injured. And really frustrated. So I just want to leave that in your minds. If you know the thing that you don't like about your voice, write it down. Write it down. It like for example, mine is like my voice is really bright. I've been told before that people find my voice very annoying. And so that was something that made me want to change the quality of my voice. But too bad, so sad. I can't do it. Now I can change my tone, and I just want to differentiate between that really quickly. So your timbre is like the identifiable characteristic that says this is you. This is your voice. So even if you sing one genre and then another, it's like you can change the color of your voice, but you still sound like it's you that's singing. The you-ness is the timbre. The change is the tone. So if we have instruments, like let's say we have a trumpet, we can immediately hear it and go, that's a trumpet. I know that that's a trumpet. And a trumpet doesn't try to be a flute. It doesn't try to be an oboe. It's a trumpet, right? So, but let's say you've got a couple trumpets next to each other, and this trumpet is richer sounding because maybe it's made of a different type of metal, or maybe it's bigger slightly, or this trumpet's clearer because maybe the holes on it are smaller. I don't know the physics of trumpets, but you can hear that there's slightly different variations of the tone that you can differentiate it, but it still sounds like a trumpet. Do you see what I'm saying? So the timbre is the trumpetness. The tone is the deviation of the color of the sound. Okay. So the 3 vocal timbres are husky, brassy, fluty. Ta-da! They couldn't be more different from each other, right? It would be so helpful if we just went, oh yeah, I'm a this or I'm a that. Like, oh, so easy. Thank you, Madeline. Easiest video ever. But humans are way too dynamic. And I just really want to encourage you. Timbre is not about what you can do. So like, well, today I'm going to be husky, and then tomorrow I'm going to be a brassy, and then I'm going to be fluty the day after. No, it's not about skills. Your timbre is you. It's about your bones. It is the physical characteristics of the essence of your voice. So it's like the way that your body and your bones stack is your timbre. Can't change it unless you get a new head. And I don't recommend that. I really don't recommend that. But husky, brassy, fluty, very confusing because, well, I sing deep and dark sometimes. Does that mean I'm husky? And I think it's rather easy, but I can sing really bright and very like twanging. Does that mean I'm a brassy? I can also sing in classical voice. Does that mean I'm a fluty? You see how this gets really confusing? But at the end of the day, you can't change your timbre. I just really want to reiterate that. Yo, sorry if I'm nagging y'all. So put it to you like this. The best way to gauge your timbre is to speak. So whether you do it now or at the end of this video, I would encourage you to find the closest thing to you that has text on it. Closest thing to you. Grab it up. Grab up your phone. And then you're going to read it, but you're not going to perform it. Because when we perform, we get into this like, I'm aware of my tone. I'm going to change my tone, which could muddy your actual timbre. So read it like it's a grocery list. For real. Broccoli, shampoo, toothpaste, coconut water. I mean, bring no extraness into it. You're just going to read it as if you're reading a list. Record it. Then when you listen back to it, you may not be able to identify, well, I'm either husky, brassy, or fluty. You may not be able to identify it. So I'll give you 3 more dimensions of the voice that will be helpful. Okay, first one is it dark or is it bright? Is it dark or is it bright? I'm fully aware that human beings are multi-dimensional and dynamic. I understand that you could be both bright and dark, but is it dark or is it bright? Okay, be very honest with yourself and try not to make yourself extra special. Just, it will confuse you. Is it dark or is it bright? So if I'm reading and I'm noticing back, it's like, okay, bright. Definitely get that. Okay, next one. Is it dull or is it clear? Now, I don't mean dull as in like boring. I mean like dull, like smoky sounding. Yeah, like that. So does it have a smoke quality? That's going to refer to the closure of the chords. Do you have a natural disconnect of the chords where it's like slightly breathy in the sound? That will dull it. If breathiness will dull the sound. Or is it nice and clear? Is there clear chord closure? Again, don't doctor this. Just read. Just read. So the last one is it heavy or is it light? Now, again, I get it that we can be a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But is it heavy or is it light? So if I'm looking at my own voice, it's like, okay, yes, I'm fully aware that my voice is bright. It's also clear and it's also light. Now, if like, that's like bingo, bam, 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 bingo. But my voice is not fluty, it's brassy. So if you're listening to this going, okay, now you can hear the brass in my voice, right? It's got that young quality to it, and it's got a in the back. Now, what exactly that is my speaking voice is hitting naturally the back of my nasal port called the nasopharynx. That's a pharyngeal space. That's brassy, and that's natural to my speech. Now, you can hear the nose, but it's very important to distinguish. Is it the back or is it the front? Now, listen to this. If I try to move my voice off my vocal timbre, which is brassy, and I try to move it into the front, so I'm noticing like immediately, I get that forward, more fluty placement, but I just lost both my brightness and my clarity. So now it's kind of like, it's not dark, but it's like muddy sounding, and it's dull. It got duller, and it's still light. So again, just speak. Don't doctor it up. Okay, just speak. Now, I'm brassy because I just tried to do some fluty and I knocked myself way out of proportion. So you see, this might be what's happening in your singing. And there are no bad timbres. I mean, the timbres are beautiful. Fluty is just as nice as brassy, is just as nice as husky. Okay, but it's really, really important. So fluty will ping off the front of the nose. So I'd have to talk like this or some variation to get that fluty component, which you see how hard I'm working in order to do that. So my voice is quite brassy, but that doesn't mean your voice has to sound like what I just did for it to be fluty. Just ask yourself, is it in the front or is it in the back? If it's in the front and you've got like naturalness to your tone, you might be fluty. For my husky friends, you're pretty much going to be hanging out in the throat and in the mouth. You might have some aspect of nasality to your sound, but it's going to be generally darker, generally duller, although there are some really beautiful, clear husky singers out there, and it will be almost always heavy. That heaviness is like actual thickness of your chords. Now, natural speech. I know that we can all do a lot of things, and when we get those skills going on, but your timbre of your voice is its soul, is its characteristic. So those are your dimensions. Husky, brassy, fluty. Sub-dimensions are dark or bright, dull or clear, thin or light or heavy. Now, again, if you're still going, I still don't know, then I would ask you to get a little deeper with yourself. Is there anything about your voice that you can't stand? Because like usually husky singers are like, I just want to sing with a lot of energy, and that's really hard. Brassy singers are like, I just want to sing with a prettier tone, or maybe some dynamic variation. That would be nice. Whereas like fluty singers are like, well, I'm just beautiful. No, for real. Fluty singers are usually like the really pretty singers, but they usually wish to be a little deeper and a little more connected to their chest voice, or they may lose chord connection. So just ask yourself, like, is there a dimension where I can sort of get to know my speaking voice? And again, we're going very general so we can get a good sense of it. When you're reading, passively read. And if you still don't know, then I would ask you to pay attention to the way that you talk to other people. Now, there is such a thing as we sort of augment our speaking voice, like someone's speaking voice might be lower, but when they're around people, they may shoot it up like, oh my God. But again, the voice can't stay in those places. And your timbre is the soul of your voice. So it's very, very clear that you want to be able to not only identify it, but build your skills around it. So for example, my voice is brassy and it consists of being bright, clear, and light. As soon as I became aware of that, it's like when I start to embrace that, everything gets pingier, everything gets freer, everything gets easier, just easier. And that has also been the feedback of, oh, your voice just sounds a lot freer because I'm not trying so hard to work counter to my natural timbre. So if you find yourself going, I reject my voice, and so therefore I've got to work so much harder. So let's say, for example, if I'm a fluty voice, I'm going to build my chest voice up. But then when you do, it just feels really hard. I'm not saying reject your chest voice. I'm just saying you're working counter to your natural gifts. If you're a brassy voice and you're like, well, I'm going to make my voice either a husky voice or a fluty voice, it's going to be really, really hard because brassies, they kind of can't hide from their brassiness. And same thing with huskies. They can't hide from their huskiness. When you really start to understand what your vocal timbre is, it's like, oh, I feel set free by this. I feel like I'm very aware that I have, like, not one color, but I have a particular palette by which to play with. But as soon as I play with that palette, I have access, so much better access to my voice. So that's what this lesson has been about today. So I encourage you to read, record it, and listen back. Make notes. Make as many notes as you can. You don't have to stop at clarity or weight or brightness. You can get even more like intrigued with like more characteristic of your voice. Like, is it excitable? Is it captivating? Is it alluring? Is it inviting? Is it friendly? Like, these are things that are actually more interesting about your voice rather than just, here's my range. I can belt up here. I can sing up here. I can sing down here. It's like those things aren't necessarily what's interesting about your voice, but your timbre is the soul of your voice. So you want to give it the attention that it deserves. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. If you did and are intrigued to learn a little bit more about vocal timbre, I did just do a live on this. It's about an hour and 20 minutes. So if you want to check that out, feel free to click that join button below and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our lives that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. But if you can't join when we're live, no biggie. You can always check back in our members only area and feast your ears and eyes at over 100 hours worth of vocal instruction. So there's something there for whatever interests you about your voice. So again, click that join button below. It's only $4.99 a month, and your contribution helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome content that's just for you. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope this was helpful, and I will see you next time. Bye.